Hey everyone, welcome. This is Jason Clemmons, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and this is a Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, coming to you on this beautiful Friday, November 15th, from Lubbock, Texas, at the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios, and on the radio at 98.7 Walk by Faith, 1420 AM, Lubbock Christian Nation, 987radio.com. We're coming to you for all of our social media pages, and it is Friday night. So I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you had a great week. And we're just going to talk about health tonight. I hope you guys are ready to talk about some health. Hey, if you're on the radio and you got questions and you want to send me a text, 806-794-0400 is our text line. 806-794-0400. Like always, appreciate the text from last night. You guys are great. I appreciate you guys that listen to the show, send in some text. So we got some feedback last night on some things that trying to see if they made any sense. And apparently they made a little bit of sense. So that's good news. It's always good news if you can make sense on the radio, right? Don't you think? Like I do. Yeah. We talk about health 5 nights a week from 6 to 7. Right here, we got a live radio show going on. We got a live YouTube, Facebook, and X show going on. And that's just what we do. So if you miss it on the radio and you want to go back and catch us on one of those Facebook pages, or you can go to the Walk by Faith Facebook page as well, usually, and he shares it on their Twitter as well, the X. So if you're interested in that, you can go back and find it. If you're interested, you can find any of them that we've talked about on the Facebook page and our Facebook page at the Rock Health and Wellness Centers. If you're not a Facebook fan, go to YouTube at Health from the Rock. And if you're not a YouTube fan, go to X at Jason Clemmons DC. They're all there. Unless they've been kicked off, or I might have deleted 1 or 2 of them from way back in September that just didn't come out real good or whatever. So, but the pretty much all the rest of them, they're 200 shows or something. We're getting good at. We're getting on down the road with it. We've got a lot of information, and man, this week this has just been an amazing week for me. And you know, we started off on Monday with our Taking Health to Church, and we've been citing some scripture all week long, and it's been great. I'm gonna start the show with that. Just some thoughts on that here in just a second, but I do want to remind everybody of the Christmas at Hillside Church, the Sharing Tree. The Sharing Tree at hillsideonline.com/sharing tree. If you're interested in getting a gift for a young child that may not get a gift on Christmas and you want to help out with that, you can go to that website I just gave you, hillsideonline.com/sharing tree, and you can click on any of those towns, Amarillo, Canyon, Clovis, Lubbock, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. So, and if you want to contact, there's a button right there that says "Contact Us." You can contact somebody from the church. I don't work at the church. I'm not affiliated with the church, other than I go to that church, or I watch it on TV on Sundays. So I don't have any connections with them, and other than that, my daughter got baptized there. But that's. I just think it's a cool deal, and I love Christmas. And I don't love Christmas because of all the pomp and circumstance of it. I love Christmas because of the love of it, and getting a gift on Christmas is a big deal to a lot of little kids. And some little kids don't get gifts on Christmas, and you know, it might be nice to have a new pair of shoes or a toy or a doll or whatever you have on Christmas. So I know that there's a lot of people listening to this show that are loving, caring people, and you probably feel the same way I do about Christmas morning. So other than that, that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about that. So that's the one thing that I just wanted to bring up first. So I just want to talk about this. It's so it's almost like a new toy, or you know, like a kid in a candy store. One of those type of deals that's going on with this scripture, because and it's interesting. It's not. I've been and I man, there's just so many levels of of how to talk about it. It's been blowing me away all week long, and it's and what I really want to talk about it. Uh, the way I want to talk about it is about your health, not anything but your health. It's just, how does this scripture fit with your health? And I'm telling you, it's been a difference maker this week. And I don't know what it says about me. I don't know. I don't know if I've been way off track, or I've been busy, or I don't know what, I can't ever remember not having Jesus in my heart. I've been like Caitlin and I get into these discussions about sinners saved by grace and all that stuff. I was like, I think I have my own opinions on a lot of that stuff, and I'm not really a religious type person. I'm really not. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a religious type person, and I'm not interested in this. I've done some research on this Shema prayer, this Deuteronomy 6:4 prayer that we learned on Sunday, and I'm not I'm not I'm not Jewish. I'm not anti or what. I'm not political, and I'm not interested in all that law and all. I'm I'm not trying to follow any of that. It's not my point. That's not my point with this. I'm a health guy. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a neurologically based, functional neurology based wellness chiropractor. That's what I am, and I love sports, and I'm a family man. That's Leslie's the love of my life, has been since I was about 16 years old. She's as beautiful today as she's ever been. She's the center of my world right here, and that's me, right? I love Red Raider football, and I love my family, and I love talking about health. That's just what I do. I don't play golf. I don't fish. I got some rod and reels in my garage, but they're dried up. I'm not a car guy. I don't know anything about cars. I study health. I'm seriously really interested. I'm really interested in health. I love the nervous system, and I love the chiropractic and how this all fits together. So when I'm talking about this scripture, I'm talking about it simply from the way that it fits into my life. That's what I'm talking about. And then what I've done with it. And it's not like I don't own Bibles, and it's not like I've never read Bibles, and it's not like I haven't ever studied the Word and all this. None of that is true. That's not real. This is just simply a time, maybe the timing of things, of recharging your batteries. And my batteries weren't even dead. I wasn't in a down place. You know what I mean? I wasn't like depressed or needing this. I wasn't seeking this. I wasn't needing this. Maybe I was needing it, but I wasn't seeking it. I wasn't in any way. My life is great. I love my life. I love my family. I love Lubbock. I love what I'm doing. All this stuff. We're good. We're eating well. We're exercising. We're doing. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like it just, all of a sudden, I just listened to a sermon on Sunday, and I listened to a guy talk about a piece of scripture that in the way they said it just fit me this week. It just fit me. And it fit me. And so what I did on Sunday, as soon as that was over, and I've been talking about it all week long. You guys are probably tired of me talking about it. Like, what is he talking? Well, I thought it was a health show. Now he's just talking about scripture all the time. But to me, those two things don't separate from themselves. So they're all tied into one. You can learn just as much about your health by reading the Bible as anything else. So, I can read Ian McGilchrist's book over there, or I could read Jordan Peterson's book over there, or we can read Matthew Walker's book on sleep, or The Body Keeps the Score. I can do all kinds of studying in every one of these other books and learn something. But I'm telling you, there's some depth to this little passage right here. The Lord your God, it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength." These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. Now, I'm reading this right here, not as a law, okay? I don't really buy the whole law thing. I'm reading it. Jesus to me is the guy that I buy. I buy into that Jesus thing. So the majority of my life, I'm a New Testament guy, right? Let's just read what did Jesus say and what did he do and all this sort of thing. So when all what did Jesus say? Okay, like let's just ask, what did Jesus say? Because they ask him, boss, what did you say on this? And hang on, I got it. It's not switching for me. Hang on. I got it on my other phone because this is the part that kind of got me. This is the part that kind of got me on Sunday, and when they asked Jesus what he said on Mark 12:30. Started on 28. One of the teachers of the law came and heard them debating. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked him, of all the commandments, which is the most important one? And then Jesus just recited that same thing. He said, the most important one is this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And then the second one is love your neighbor as yourself. So, man, I just been thinking about this all week. So I started that. I thought, okay, have I been doing that? Have I been doing that right there? Like, love the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Love the Lord with all your mind. I've been breaking down every word of this. I've been breaking down every thought of this. I've been laying in bed thinking about it, waking up in the morning thinking about it, adjusting patience thinking about it. It worked out this morning. I was in the middle of my workout. I started feeling sorry for myself, started feeling tired, and started feeling sorry for myself, and started quoting this scripture. I was like, love the Lord with all your strength. Not just part of your strength, not just the part of your strength that you think you have. Shut your face and love the Lord with all your strength. That's what I said in my workout this morning. Like, I'm in the middle of my workout and we did 4 rounds and I started to get tired and I was like, why are you tired? What are you thinking about? What is it that you're doing? Who asked you to think about being tired? I'm having this whole conversation inside my head this morning while I'm working out. It's like, who asked you to be tired? I didn't ask you to be tired. I asked you to love the Lord with all your strength. How much strength do you have? Do you have any more strength? And I was like, yeah, I got more strength. Then I was like, well, use it, dude. I was like, whoa, shut up. You're feeling sorry for yourself. And I was just thinking, man, it's like, dude, love the Lord with all your mind. And you know how hard it was to have conversations this week? The longer the week went, you know how hard it was to have conversations about things that were so trivial and meant nothing? I was having a really hard time talking about the Tech football game against Colorado. Patients like to talk to me because I played quarterback at Tech, and I like to talk about football. So they were wanting to know about the referee calls and about the face mask and about the 4th down stuff and about the game and about the loss and about all this stuff. And I was having a really hard time getting the words to come out of my mouth that had some sort of criticism about that, because I was laying in bed this morning and I was thinking to myself this morning, what is love? If you're supposed to love, what is love? And I was thinking, And I started to go to work on it this afternoon, but I was so, I got over here later than I thought I was going to. And I just went to my Bible app and I just put in love. And there was like, I don't know, 100 something or more entries in the Bible. So, because I was really looking for what is love. And I thought, I just went back to that love. It's like, what is it not? It is not envious. It does not boast. It does not keep record of wrong. It does not keep record of wrong. So if I'm really going to love the Texas Tech Red Raiders, why am I fussing about that fourth down thing? And I just started thinking about how many minutes, how many seconds of the day, how many thoughts of the day that I have inside my head that are contradictory to what that scripture is trying to say about love the Lord with all your mind. Love the Lord with all your strength, with all your heart. And how does that affect our health? How many, man, I mean, you know, we've been harping on sugar and fish oil and exercise and all this stuff for 14 months now. But how does it affect our health to have negative thoughts? Not even negative. Thoughts contradictory to that scripture. Thoughts that are contradictory to that scripture running through our head. Like, I changed my approach to every adjustment this week. Like, I looked at those people. I looked at those people that were on my table in a different way this week because I kept running that through my head. I had more patience this week. I had more peace and calm this week. I had more ability to see about people better this week. We had one of the best. We had one of the best weeks. I don't know how many new patients we had this week, and I don't know how many total adjustments we saw. But it was one of the best weeks we've had in a long time. Wonder why those two things are correlated. Like, I wonder if there's a correlation between the actual successful week we had and my brain space. I've always said it, but I never took it to this level because this level is a totally different level. And I think it's something that what I'm trying to do is share it with you and really share it with you. I'm trying to share it with you that, man, and some of you guys are so advanced, you're like, Jason, welcome to the party. That's really nice. I'm glad you finally got there. We spend a lot of our day, I'm going to say, because I'm going to guess that I'm not really that much different than most people out there. I think the majority of people out there are probably very similar in that we spend a lot of our day, a high number of our day, a high number of our minutes in our day on thoughts and thought patterns that are contradictory to that scripture, that are either completely opposite of that scripture or they're skewed off in some direction. They're not following that scripture. They're not following love each other without record of wrong, without envy, without boasting. Just love each other. Love what you're doing. Love putting that dryer in and try to get that round dryer duct to hook up to that oval pipe. Just love scratching up your hand. Like, this, just love. And I started reading some different scriptures about, well, love your enemies. Anybody can love your friends. Anybody can love the people that love you. Love the people that don't love you. And man, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's boring as heck to you or not, but I'm just telling you, there's just so much there. There's so much there for health. There's so much, and I can't believe it took me this long to get it. I can't believe it took me this long to get it on the show, really. It just kind of, I guess some of these things work themselves out in their own timing. But if you're interested in increasing the quality of your day And if you're interested in increasing the quality of the people around you, that you might just consider, just try it for a week. Like when you go to bed tonight, read that scripture. And when you get up in the morning, read that scripture. I did it all week long. I went to bed reading that scripture and praying, and I got up this morning and I read that scripture and I probably said it to myself, I don't know, 100 times today, over and over. Every moment, I've just read that scripture in my head. Love the Lord with all your heart. Love the Lord with all your heart. He's standing right here watching you. Love the Lord with all your heart. How are you going to treat this person that's standing right in front of you? How are you going to treat your wife? How are you going to treat your daughter? How are you going to treat the next patient that walks in the door? What are you going to do with the people that are working for you? What are you thinking about them? And man, it was great. It almost makes me like, okay, we could talk about cervical curves now, or we could talk about arthritis, or we could talk about fish oil, or we could talk about whatever. And it's just like, I just want to make sure that none of the sentences are contradictory to that. It's kind of made me yearn for that right now. It's kind of made me yearn for not wanting to have any ridiculous words come out of my mouth that are not in some way focused on what that scripture is saying. Because what it's doing inside my brain and what it's doing inside, well, like the peace and calm that are coming with it, and unpeaceful. That's the shocking thing that's what I'm trying to say. I wasn't hurting, I wasn't sad, I wasn't depressed, I wasn't tired, I wasn't any of that stuff. And all of a sudden, it's just like, there's just like, whoa, it's like someone was just all of a sudden pulled the curtains back and showed you a different level of existing. And I don't know how long it'll last. Maybe it'll wear off. And I won't be so excited about it in a few days. But that's that anyway. I didn't mean for it to take up the whole first half of the show. I'm just really blown away with it. And I hope maybe I can share it with you. Like if you're having a bad day, right? Because look, there's things that I'm not trying to ignore. I'm not trying to be. I've got some things that I got to get taken care of. But I've all of a sudden looked at those things differently. I've all of a sudden looked at them like just things that I need to get taken care of. Like they're not deal breakers. They're not day ruiners. That's not a thing, but they're not something that's just going to just knock me off track. I know they're there. I got to handle them. They're just things that are part of life that I got to handle, but I'm going to love the Lord with all my heart. Love the Lord with all my heart while I'm doing that, right? You might be struggling with something this week. You personally might be struggling with something. You might be struggling with a person. You might be struggling with your family. You might be struggling with money. You might be struggling with your health. Somebody might be in the hospital. There might be something going on out there in your life. Just love the Lord with all your heart. Just start it right there. Just start saying that. Say that and try it for a week. And then if it makes an impact on you, just send me a text. 806-794-0400. Send me a message on Facebook or wherever. Just send me some feedback. If you've tried it, you guys that are advanced and you that are way ahead of us, the rest of us, just be happy that we've come to the party. But the ones of us that are like have really started to try this week, like if it makes as big an impact on you as it has on me, then share it with me, because you'll want to. If you get to the end of the week and it's made as big as impact on you that it has on me, you'll want to tell me. You'll be like, Jason, dadgum, dude, I did it. I did the same thing that you did, and I'm so much more peaceful. Now, peaceful is health. Like if you want better health, you definitely want to get peaceful, right? You want to just get your body to calm down a little bit, get your muscles to relax a little bit. You can go see Lori Ann too. That's what I did this afternoon. Got a massage for an hour and a half. So if you want her number, text me. I'll give you her number too. She's fantastic. But just to find some look, the way you look at the game, the way that you look at what you're going to do next, the way that you look at your wife, the way that you look at your kids, your spouse, whatever. Like it will change your outlook. It will change your outlook. And by changing your outlook, it'll change your adrenaline, it'll change your cortisol, it'll decrease all of those parts of your body that are in fight or flight and send you more into a parasympathetic, peaceful, calming, knowing environment. So try it. Hey, okay. Now that we've talked about that, we're gonna talk about some health stuff on the other side of the break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about some stuff that kind of things we've been talking about this week. I'm gonna show you some more pictures. We're gonna talk about some things. So, and we're gonna be doing it with the attitude of loving the Lord with all our heart while we're doing it. So, if you got any questions, send them to me. Otherwise, let's take a break for a second, and then we'll be back. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. And we're coming to you live on this Friday, November 15th. Yeah. Hey, Lewis, hope everything's going good with you out there. And thanks for watching the show. If you guys on social media have any comments, questions, concerns, anything you want me to cover, send them to me. If there's something that you want me to talk about or address for you, send them to me. Now, remember, I can't treat you specifically. I had a text last week from one of the radio listeners, and they were asking me what kind of vitamin D and fish oil that we used. And so I sent them a picture of it. And then they asked me, how much should my wife take, or should my wife take this too? And I said, wait, that's not what you asked me. You just asked me what kind of fish oil I took. I can answer that question. To say whether or not your wife should be taking it or not taking it, I can't. I'm not specifically able to make a recommendation for a person that's not my patient, right? I'm just talking about in general, a person should take fish oil. Yes. Now, each specific individual person might need I'm not legally able to do that. That's not, I would be establishing a doctor-patient relationship, and I haven't established that patient. I haven't done the exam and all the things that it takes to do that. So when you're answering questions like that, you just have to be careful in the way that you answer them so that you don't mess up and which is kind of hard sometimes because the person is just trying to get some help and you're just trying to help, but we try to follow the rules as much, always, not as much as we can, but always. So I'm not specifically talking about anybody. And I know a lot of you guys that are watching this show. Are patients in the office. And that's kind of what this show is about. I really do. My number one motivation of this show is to share information about health and wellness to the people that are getting adjusted at the Rock Health and Wellness Center. That's really what I'm trying to do, is use this as a way, because sometimes we're so busy, we're adjusting patients all day long that it's hard for us to answer all your questions. So it gives me an opportunity to answer them in depth and then share that information with you and then the next person that asked that question as well. So let's get us back online. Hey, everybody, we're back. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. It's Friday, November 15th. We're talking about health tonight. So had a opportunity to adjust a 15-year-old today, and really did appreciate that opportunity to get him in the office. He's going to do fantastic. He's going to do fantastic, and he didn't know it. He had some, there's some things going on with him, and we got him. We got him evaluated. We got him. Did his exam, did all of his neurological testing and all this stuff, and then went to work on him immediately. And he's going to do fantastic. And sometimes, and I wanted to just kind of I know this is repetition, but I wanted to just keep going, just share some of this stuff with you, just as a reminder, because I think it's enough to. It's important. It's important. Okay. Let's start with this slide. Flexor muscles. So if you haven't heard this before, if you're new to the show, your frontal lobe inhibits your flexor muscles. Your brain, the frontal lobe of your brain. This just right above your eyeballs. If you just put your hand on your forehead right there, right behind that area is the frontal lobe of your brain. And the job, there's a lot of things that go on with that. But in these kids, and if you've got a kid or grandkid or something like that, in these kids, the development is slowing down. So I had a patient come in and tell me this week that she went to a conference, and at the conference, they actually said, it is becoming science that the frontal lobe is now slowing down in development. Instead of being developed at 25, it's now they're pushing that target to 26 or 27 or 28, something like that. Like I didn't get to hear the paper, I just heard the conversation, and that's something that we have discussed on the show. Your frontal lobe is the last thing to develop, and it's the first thing to go away. And one of the job of the frontal lobe is to inhibit the flexor muscles. Turn off your pecs, turn off your bicep, your forearm, your SCM muscle. Turn those muscles down. Take the tone out of those muscles. And the best picture I got for that is this picture here where, and I know you guys on the radio can't see it, but it's the picture where the mama is holding the little baby, the brand new baby, and the baby's looking up at the mom. And you know what's interesting is a lot of moms, and this picture depicts it right here actually, a lot of moms will hold the baby on their left side. They'll hold the baby on their left side to get the right side of their brain, the visual field of their right brain, to see the baby. And they'll hold the baby on the left side. That actually happens in human beings, and it also happens in chimpanzees and primates. They'll do that. They have a tendency of holding that because that's not an accident. That picture wasn't an accident either. I didn't pick it out. It wasn't an accident. But anyway, that's just an aside. But eyes at birth only have about 9 inches of visual field. You're going to look for food, and you're going to look for mama's face, and then other than that, you're just not going to see much. And you start that development of the brain when you roll. I mean, it starts in utero, but the brain development does. But it really accelerates when you roll over on your tummy and get your eyes up. You roll over on your tummy and you get your eyes up, and that gets this whole thing working up here in your brain. And it happened, I mean, like over and over and over and over and over again this week, I dealt with that right there. And I know that you guys that watch this show, you know it, because you're this is the 47th time that you've seen it. I get it. But it's happening. It's happening all day long. I've got people with radiating pain running down their arm because of forward head posture, rolled shoulders. I got kids that their posture is horrible, and it's the idea of the flexion, and because this neurology of getting our eyes up, getting our head in the position when we start to crawl, and getting up on our feet and then moving our feet is what puts us into extension. It brings us up into extension until we move through life, and then our frontal lobe starts to fail again, and it puts us back into flexion. And lumbar flexion is a big one. I just wish people really understood lumbar flexion. And understood the dynamics of what lumbar flexion is. And one way that you could understand it is you could push if you're sitting down and just straighten yourself up and imagine that you have a rope or a string attached to your belly button, and just pull that forward. Pull that like maybe there's a rope going around your body right at the level of your belly button. And if you were to pull that rope forward, that would put extension in your lumbar spine. Like now you're leaning, what your lumbar spine is doing is it's actually leaning backward. That's extension in the lumbar spine. So now, the opposite of that, now take the rope and take all the slack off the rope, or pull your belly button backward, and now what's happening is you've got the flexion. But it ties into hip rotation and hamstring function as well, because flexor muscles are on the back, on the body, on the bottom half of the body, or on the back of the body. So below your waist, your flexors are on the back. Like if I just said to you, flex your knee, what would you do? If I said extend your knee, what would you do? You would straighten your leg out, right? If I said flex your knee, what would you do? You'd bend your knee. How do you bend your knee? You bend your knee with your hamstring. Well, if I said flex your arm, your elbow, what would you do? You would do that. Well, where's the muscle? It's on the front. The bicep is on the front of the body, above the waist. So is the pec muscle. So is the SCM muscle. So is the psoas muscle that connects to all your lumbar vertebrae. So you can just imagine if you're sitting down and those psoas muscles are tight, they're pulling your femurs up towards your lumbar spine. They're closing the angle of the way that your lumbar spine is working. You're kind of tucking your tail up underneath you, and you're causing yourself to go into flexion. And when you put flexion in your lumbar spine, you automatically make your spine a C instead of an S. So, and when your spine looks like a C from the side, if you were looking at you from the side and all of a sudden you flex your lumbar spine, well, your thoracic spine, your upper shoulders are going to go into flexion, and your head's going to come forward, and your body's going to look like a C. And that's not biomechanically right. It's not biomechanically right, and it's detrimental to movement, and it's detrimental to function, and it's detrimental to disc, and it's detrimental to the whole thing, right? So that posture I see in a lot of kids, and it's all, it's not a new thing, but it's getting worse with phones. So because you've heard the story your whole life. Your grandmama used to say, sit up straight, or your mama used to say, sit up straight. That's not a new thing, right? We all know that. We've heard that our whole lives. Somebody somewhere along the way probably told you to sit up straight, and that's not a new phenomenon right there. But the concept of it, especially with kids these days who are looking at phones because their heads go down, it's the opposite of this, of the baby rolling over on their tummy. If you guys are at home, just Google it. A picture of a baby laying on their tummy. And just look at what an image would look like. And what you'll see is they're not just laying there with their face down on the ground. They're going to pick their head up. And they pick their head up, they put their neck into extension. They also you can look at that little baby that's laying there on the ground, the elbows are up. So what's the lumbar spine doing? The lumbar spine is going into extension. That's the way we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be that way. So all of those things fit from the bottom of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. That all there's fascia that connects all the way from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, and all of that works together. And so that's why, to me, it's so important after so many 20 years of being in chiropractic to look at the brain first, not the plantar fascia first, not the calf Achilles pain first, not the knee joint pain first, not the tight hamstring, not the inverted knee, the knee knocking, the not the hip function. Nope, keep going. Not the lumbar spine flexion, not the shoulders rolled forward, not the head forward posture. Keep going. Keep not the head tilt, one side or the other. Keep going. The brain, right? That's the way we ought to address it. And it was really cool having this conversation today because, and it reminds me of a phone call I had one time, and when a person called me and they said, "Do you treat this particular hip symptom?" Not symptom, diagnosis, syndrome, some sort of hip syndrome. Is they called and asked me if I treated this, and I was like, I don't really know for sure because I don't know what that hip syndrome is. I don't know what that means. Do you treat this hip syndrome? Because to tell you the honest truth, I'm not one of those guys that cares. I know that when I go to meetings and stuff, all those smart guys, they care. And all those big wigs and stuff and all the chiropractors that work in the hospitals and they work with the medical doctors and they work with all this stuff, they care and they know all the answers. And that's probably good. It's probably good that we have those guys in our profession that knows all that stuff. It offsets those of us who don't. But for me, I'm one of those guys that, like, do you treat this hip syndrome? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And why don't I know what that means? Because I don't care. Why don't I care? Because I care more about the function of your hip than whatever your syndrome is called. I want to know why. I want to know why that hip's not working properly. I want to know why that knee's not working properly and address that before I care to figure out what it's called. Like, I know some of the diagnoses but they really are all, it's all the same. It's like, I mean, you either have some sort of congenital issue where you were born, you could have a deformed ball and socket joint in your hip. You were born that way. Okay, that's not a neurological issue. That's an orthopedic issue right there. Okay, fine. Fair enough. We probably ought to call it that. Right? But let's just say that you were born with a normal ball and socket joint in the hip. You were born with normal bone development and structure of your pelvis and your lumbar spine. All of that is a normal. You don't have some sort of hip dysplasia or something like that, right? If this is normal development and normal structure. Okay, now we're talking about function. And now we get into that whole function idea of why is it not functioning? Well, then when we evaluate it, now we start looking at posture pictures, we start looking at brain scans, we start looking at x-rays, we start looking at functional movements, we start looking at neurological evaluations, and now we get that picture put together, and it's like, well, no wonder your hip's popping, or your knee hurts, or your Achilles is not functioning properly. Now we got to address those problems, and then your syndrome goes away. And that's what happens. That's what's happened this week at the office. And it's just so inspiring because the family doesn't necessarily know it. They're searching for it and they're on it. They're like on the right track and they found the right place. They just never had anybody explain it. And that's actually what the dad told me when he left. He's like, I feel way better about this because of all the way you explained it. And I was like, great. That's fantastic. I'm glad you did. And man, this kid's gonna rock. Man, just think about the life-altering thing for this kid. At 15 years old, just think about the life-altering experience. And I told him, I said, dude, you're going to love this day. You're going to probably write this down in your diary, in your journal or something. You're going to sleep like a baby tonight, and you're going to remember, dude, I got adjusted when I was 15. Because I remember I got adjusted when I was 17. I remember my first adjustment. Dr. Payne, the pedophile in Roswell. Yeah, he was. He was a piece of work. Not with me, but he was a piece of work. He was a chiropractor, took care of athletes for free. I wonder why, punk. But Coach Bradley sent me to Dr. Payne. Went to see Dr. Payne for a separated left shoulder. Got my first adjustment when I was 17 years old. I'm 54 years old, and it's as awesome today. Just like on Tuesday, I got another adjustment. I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of adjustments I've had, but I got another one on Tuesday. And it's just like, man, it was just as awesome as the as the first one, I guess. I don't know, but I remember that first one, just like this kid will remember the first one. And what an awesome thing for that kid. And just think it's a pivotal moment. It's a pivotal moment when you get that done, because now you've changed. When you guys finally get this concept of arthritis, or you guys finally get this concept of flexor muscles, or you guys finally get this concept, it's a pivotal moment in your life. Like, man, it's like, boom. Now all of a sudden, you're no longer the person that you were before. You're no longer the person that you were before. The decisions that you're going to make, just think of how many less Tylenol this kid is going to take in his lifetime now that he understands about function, structure and function. Just think about how many less Advil this kid might take. Just think about how much less pain pills he might take. Think about how much less alcohol he might drink to drown his depression that he might have from the pain that he's been dealing with because of the malfunction that he might have. How many of you guys are in that boat? How many people out there are in that boat that you need a glass of wine to get you through the end of the day just because you can't handle the day because the day has stacked up wrong against you? First thing you need to do is love the Lord with all your heart. Say that. Repeat it. If it takes 2 seconds, repeat it again, because you'll find out that'll help. Okay? So, just a reminder. Brain, eyes up, turn off your flexor muscles, get your body back into a proper posture, and you'll be crazy impressed with how much better your body feels, right? That whole thing is a big deal. We are going to talk about, because I finally found some of those x-rays. And some of those x-rays I was looking for last night. When I was talking, I knew they were out there somewhere. I just couldn't remember where they were. And so I found some of those x-rays out there that I was looking for. And let me get all this. I got so many screens open but I do want to show you this. This term, and this is probably even the best one. The term that you hear, because that's, I think you got it. One of my guys came in today and he told me he said something about, I'm not worried about my arthritis today. Yeah. This is the term. Find it. Yeah, this one right here. All right. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get called as arthritis in your neck. What we're doing is we're looking at a lateral cervical X-ray for all of the radio people. We're looking at an X-ray of a person that has degenerative disc problems in their neck. They even have a little bit of anterior calcification of the longitudinal ligament. That's right there. Like they just got some really weird looking stuff going on in their neck. This is called degeneration. This is not called arthritis. Okay? That is not arthritis in the neck. It's just degeneration in the neck. Okay? Just wanted you to see it. I wanted you to see pictures of it and more pictures of it and more pictures of it, just so that you can really understand it. Here's another one. And I've showed you this one before. Yep. This is a guy that has screws in his L4 and L5 because of degenerative disc problems, not arthritis. He may have arthritis. His joints may be flared up, but it's not because of all that. If we get all the inflammation out of his low back, he will not have arthritis. Arthritis comes and goes. Arthritis comes and goes. Degeneration really doesn't. Once your spine degenerates, it's pretty much degenerated. It's really hard to get that to this. It's really hard to get that to reverse itself because it's too bad. Let me see if I got another one. Yeah, there we go. Same thing right here. This right here, bone spurring, decreased disc height, that whole thing together, that is not arthritis. Don't let them tell you that. Don't let them tell you that. It's not arthritis, it's degeneration. Just seeing it over and over again. And here's the other thing. Oh, that's the other thing I was wanting to say about all this is that this has nothing to do with age. Remember that too. Look at this. A good disc, almost a good disc, degenerative disc, perfectly healthy disc, perfectly healthy disc. You look at that person is going to get told, you're getting old, it's normal. Okay, let's look at this really bad one again. Because, let's look at this really bad one again. Because you'll get told the same thing. Yeah, right here. All right. This person's older, 75 or older probably. I don't remember exactly the age, okay? Degenerative disc, degenerative disc, degenerative disc. What about that disc? Relatively healthy. What about this disc? Relatively healthy. What about this disc? Relatively healthy. And the one below it? Relatively healthy. Okay, wait a minute. If these sections right here are due to the fact that this person is 75 years old, why are these sections not ruined and these sections not ruined? Well, because these, well, yeah, exactly. I had this conversation with Leslie today because I was listening to somebody. I'm fired up about RFK Jr. getting his Health and Human Services job, and then I was listening to some people talk, and they were talking trash about him, saying he was a nut, and I'm like, that's usually what people say when they don't have much more to say, when they're not really going to be able to hold up in a debate, because a lot of times when you debate them in 3 sentences, their whole argument falls apart because they can't really debate it. So what are they going to say? They're just going to say something negative about the person. They can't hold up. That's the same thing. That's the same way I feel. I'm really convinced. I'm 100% convinced that joints don't wear out in lifetimes of human beings. Joints that are properly working. Your joint structure should never wear out in a lifetime. I think every human being should outlive their joints. If they're not outliving their joints, then they're putting their joints in an environment that's incongruent with health. I don't think that any person, I really don't. I think this person could live to be 120 years old and those discs still wouldn't wear out. The ones that are healthy wouldn't wear out. I don't think they'd wear out at 120. I don't think they'd wear out at 130 or 140. I don't think your knee joint would wear out at 140 if it's functioning properly. I don't think it's just age. I think we get told that it's age. I think we get told that the reason that it's happening is because we're old. But to me, if this is happening because you're old, why is this not happening too if it's the same age? Why wasn't your whole spine just crumble and be degenerative? This section right here, look at it. In the picture, the red line is behind the green line. This section right here is the reversed cervical curve section, right? That's not functioning properly. That section is not functioning properly. Now, it may not be, it's going to take some time. So you can make the argument that this section wore out because it was not functioning properly for a long period of time. That's fair. I'll buy that. I'll say, yeah, well, you're 75 years old and this section's probably not been functioning for 60 years. Fair enough. This section's been functioning fine for 60 years, 75 years actually. This one's been functioning fine for 75 years, but the middle one is the section that's all degenerative and it's not been functioning fine for that long a time, and that's why it's all okay, fine. That argument is fair enough. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope that makes sense. Even if you're on the radio and you can't see it, you can at least hear it, and you can hear that it makes sense. I think it does. I don't think your joints are supposed to wear out. Not ever. Not ever. And so I may be the only person you ever heard say that. And I'm proud to say that. I'm not boasting. I'm just proud to say it. Like, I'm not, I will rest easy saying it. But I'll rest easy saying it over the weekend because this is the end of the show. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys will come see us sometime. Let me know if I can help you. Give me a call. Give me a text. You guys have a great weekend.